Swazdo la Sara. This is Seraphis, the procrastinating space pirate, and in this video I'll be talking about the Cypher System by Monte Cook Games. The Cypher System rulebook, aka the Red Book. So, Cypher System is a narrative tabletop role-playing game system designed by Monte Cook, Sean K. Reynolds, Shanna Germain, and Bruce R. Cordell, longtime veterans of the RPG community and designers of many past games, including older editions of Dungeons & Dragons. And that'll be the only time I mention that TTRPG here. So, let's talk Cypher. This is the table of contents for those playing along at home. As we open up the beginning of the book, we have these first few chapters. Worlds of Adventure is an introduction to Cypher and talking about how this is the revised edition, commonly called the Red Book by the community. And Monty simply explains that this book doesn't invalidate the original, it just has the revisions of the rules that gave quality of life improvements to using the system. Anything Goes section focuses on giving a brief description on how Cypher is a narrative-based system first and a rolling dice second. It also talks about genres, settings, and tailoring the rules for games. Basically, the takeaway for everyone here is that the game system serves the narrative, not the narrative bows to what the system restricts. How to play the Cypher system is 6 pages of getting to the point on how to play the game. That's right, 6 pages tell you everything you need to know about how to play the game. I can't remember the last time I had the system so easy to learn. Now, this is the condensed what you need to know. Later on we'll talk about where all the rules are. Characters. For all the players out there, this is your section. Everything you need to know how to build your character in the Cypher system. Creating your character. In Cypher, the player character is a sentence. I am X, who is a descriptive type who foci or focuses. Everything about your character is summed up in that. So now, let's break it apart to talk about what it all means. Type is like a class in other systems, but it doesn't define your place in a group. Merely a point of where and how you can do stuff. And the types in the CSR are very self-explanatory. Warriors are like fighters, adepts are like magic users, explorers are like rogues, and speakers are like bards. But even that is very stereotyping, because a warrior could be a cleric with the right focus. So, why don't we move on? Flavor is something that you can use to swap type abilities for. This is where Cypher's customization really comes into play. There's 5 flavor types: stealth, technology, magic, combat, and skills and knowledge. And each of these have a list of abilities for each level that a player or GM can swap out types and abilities for one of these. The customization to base types from this is really cool, and it balances really well. Descriptor is next, and this is where we get a little more complicated, but groovy too. See, the standard in Cypher is assumed that you are a human, so a lot of descriptors are based on a predominant characteristic for the character. Some examples being appealing, brash, chaotic, doomed, exiled, fast, graceful, honorable, intelligent, kind, lucky, mystical, strong-willed, tough, vicious, and weird. Each of these come with positive and negative effects, but they're all minor and usually in the area of skills. Focus is where the other half of what a class in any other game would come in, except the customization possibilities are nuts. Foci have titles like Bears a Halo of Fire, or Dances with Dark Matter, and Emerged from the Obelisk. This is where you can have things like a warrior who works miracles, and adept who wears power armor, an explorer who loves the void, or a speaker who doesn't do much. Foci have a lot of special abilities associated with them, and it's here that when you roll a 19 or 20 on a d20 roll, that the minor effects and major effects usually stem from. Abilities is our next section, and this is literally a massive breakdown of every ability in the Red Book, in alphabetical order, detailing what each ability does. Potentially the longest section of the book. Didn't check, but it's extensive. And for those going through it, it'll detail all the weird the cipher can do and how to make your own. Oh yeah, and as I mentioned, this book is full of details on how to make your own, from types to descriptors to foci to the abilities themselves. Equipment is our next section, and this is pretty straightforward, talking about the base way most equipment works in the system and touches upon ciphers and artifacts. We'll talk more about them later. Rules. This is where you can get into the nitty gritty of the rules. But be warned, for even here, the wording can be vague. This is because Monte Cook is a proponent of people playing games the way that best suits their needs, their table, and their setting. So the wording here is designed to support how the game works at your table. So don't be bothering MCG if you played 3 different tables and hear 3 different interpretations. That's a feature, not a bug. Rules of the game covers details from all over the game and for all different scenarios, such as interpretations of distance, types of hazards and their damage, what things mean and how to use them, like the difference between edge and effort. Come on people, it's not that hard. It also has the rules for followers, companions here too. Experience points is an interesting section because XP, like other TTRPGs, allows you to level up, but it's also an economy unto itself that you can use to do things for short, medium, and long-term benefits. It also details the different ways you can get XP, as it's not determined by kill monsters, level up. A major way to have a secondary income of XP into a cipher game is to have character arcs, which, if you're actually role-playing, this should be part of the game already. But the section has many examples of character arcs and moments to them where things happen and players earn XP or other effects. On the CU Discord, there's also lots of conversations about adapting other ways to do XP, including milestones from another system. But my personal opinion is that that kind of thinking is bringing in the baggage of other games, and Cypher runs better than those. Genres. This part of the CSR goes into detail about how each type of genre can work in the Cypher system. Narratively. The answer is narratively. You don't focus on the combat or the tactics or the miniatures, you focus on the story you're telling in that genre. I won't touch on this section now, as when I get into the white books, I'll come back to each section here before talking about their corresponding books. But a quick list of the genre examples is Fantasy, the white book Godforsaken; Modern, Science Fiction, with the white book The Stars Are Fire; Horror, with the white book Stay Alive; Romance; Superheroes, with the white book Claim the Sky; Post-apocalyptic, with the new white book Lost in Redemption; Fairy Tale, with the white book We're All Mad Here; Historical. Anyway, moving on. Game Mastering. This is the section all GMs for Cypher need to read, especially running the Cypher system, and more so if you have players who might be problematic, see Munchkins. This section gives an overview of creatures and NPCs across any genre. However, let's talk the last two. Ciphers. What the system is named for. Originally in the setting book that created the system to begin with, Numenera, ciphers are one-use items. That's pretty much the bare essentials of it. In a fantasy setting, you can think of them like potions or scrolls. In a modern or post-apocalyptic setting, they might be stims. In a fairy tale, there might be a cup of tea or a slice of cake. Artifacts, on the other hand, are items that usually have a depletion roll, and only rolling a 1 makes an artifact stop working. These are usually things that a GM thinks the party may need but doesn't want them having forever, even though that can still happen. Running the Cypher system talks about, in fact, the first thing it talks about is the versatility of the system. I feel like this can get misinterpreted by people because it talks about how the system can be changed to reduce or increase aspects of the mechanics, not that it can be changed to do anything. This section also covers GM advice and tutoring for new GMs, and GMs coming into the Cypher system for the first time, as well as my personal favourite section, that I feel every GM should have regardless of the system, just in their back pocket. Page 433 from the subheading, I absolutely love this section. Moving on. Back matter is comprised of the book's index and printouts, the most useful here being the campaign design worksheet. If you're running a Cypher game, just from the CSR, and your players also have the CSR, you can fill this form out, send it to them, and be like, here's what you can and can't have for the game. Create your characters. I have not seen another system that does something like this, and I think this is a point for veteran designers knowing what they have and what their community needs. And that was our brief look through the Cypher System rulebook. And let's be fair, with a book that's just shy of 450 pages, that's as bloody brief as you can make it. Let me know in the comments if you want me to cover the genre white books next, or if you'd like me to talk about Numenera Discovery and Destiny, and or my Numenera setting, which, if you haven't heard, has all the trappings of Numenera's 1 billion years in the future, but also uses elements from 80s cartoons like Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, Goldar and the Golden Lance, and others. Also, Power Rangers. So, thanks for checking this out. Shala! And because an Aussie can never go on swearing, cunt!